One thing we know about the Australian federal government is that the buck stops with them when it comes to immigration levels. They control the levers that determine how many people are allowed to enter the country. If they say otherwise, they're lying. Here's a chart from the Australian Bureau of Statistics showing the proportion of the population born overseas. After World War II in 1947, the overseas-born population was around 10%. Since then, it has steadily climbed to today's figure of almost 31%. How did this happen, if it's not already obvious? Immigration, of course. This is the net overseas migration from 1945 onwards, measuring the net change in Australia's population due to migration. From 1945 to 2005, the 60 years following World War II, net overseas migration averaged less than 90,000 people per year, despite large influxes of European migrants after the war. However, after John Howard's immigration policy reforms prioritised skilled migration in the early 2000s, along with Kevin Rudd's Big Australia policy, immigration levels increased dramatically, averaging more than 225,000 per year until 2020. Then the pandemic hit, throwing a dampener on their Big Australia dreams. But don't worry, once Anthony Albanese took office, migration numbers skyrocketed again. Since May 2022, approximately 1.15 million net migrants have entered Australia, marking the highest migration intake in history. Since 2000, Australia's population has grown by more than 40%, the fastest rate of any developed nation. Yippee-ki-yay! Australia's rapid population growth has sparked significant debate, particularly around housing and rental affordability, urban congestion, social cohesion, and infrastructure strain. For example, on transport systems, healthcare, and education. Environmental concerns such as water security and land use have also been raised. Despite these challenges, the Australian government continues to push mass immigration. All sides of the media are talking about this now. It's just about numbers. Aussie dad facing homelessness pleads for immigration pause. Australian nightmare, crisis we can't ignore. Whether you're for it or against it, it's undeniable that by virtually any metric, Australia is in the midst of an unprecedented experiment with mass immigration. Even the ABC can see the writing on the wall. Calls for better planning as Aussie suburbs feel the squeeze amid migration housing pressures. The city of Melton, on the outer edge of Melbourne, has experienced massive population growth due to overseas migration. Melton's mayor, Steve Abushi, told the ABC that his city was carrying the load for the state of Victoria. He stated, "A lot of our buses aren't linking to brand new estates, a lot of our roads aren't urbanised, and some of our train stations are at capacity. Because we're experiencing so many public transport issues, our roads are becoming even more congested." Frank Carbone, mayor of the Western Sydney suburb of Fairfield and son of Italian immigrants, is also feeling the pinch of high immigration. He stated, "We just feel that sometimes the government uses the western suburbs to populate this country, but not necessarily put back the infrastructure that is needed to maintain all of our quality of life. Fairfield is already full. You can't keep on putting people into an area that's full. We're not against migration. Migration is the foundation this country has been built on, but it's always been a sensible, regulated policy. At the moment, it feels like the policy under Albanese has been unregulated and uncontrolled. It's one of the biggest mistakes I've ever seen in public life." Even the ABC is publishing polling showing that over the past 3 years, a significant increase in Australians believe immigration is too high. In 2022, 5.7% of ABC viewers said Australia should admit many fewer immigrants, a figure that has risen to 26.2% in 2025. Likewise, in 2022, 9.9% felt we should admit somewhat fewer immigrants, which has now climbed to 23.1%. That's a significant increase, and these are ABC viewers. Naturally, the number of ABC viewers who believe Australia needs more immigration has significantly decreased. The figures don't lie. People aren't blind to this anymore. It's affecting their communities. Although some people still accuse anti-immigration proponents of being racist, that argument no longer holds. This isn't a cultural issue. Well, a little bit, but mainly it's a numbers issue. We simply don't have the housing or infrastructure to keep accepting more and more people. Since the federal government is the only entity in control of this, they must be the ones to bring it back under control. It's hurting everyone now, including immigrants who are already here. If you want to solve housing, you need to address immigration. You can't keep inflating Australia's population and expect the housing crisis to disappear. If politicians genuinely believe otherwise, they're either delusional or completely out of touch. Which is it?